Hi, my name's Andrew Rafferty, and this is my presentation for my Action Research project. So a little bit about me. I am a chemistry and robotics teacher at the West York Area High School. This is my 6th or 7th year teaching there. My major is integrative STEM education. So the class that I did my action research for was robotics, which was new to me at the start of last year. So definitely had a lot I wanted to learn, and this was a helpful process. So let me move my thing over. The purpose of my research was I wanted to figure out what strategies I could implement to help students better manage their time in my self-paced classroom. The robotics class I teach, when we get to programming, because of the different abilities and interests of the kids, and to not slow kids down that are moving quickly, we use self-paced modules through Canvas. What I've noticed over the past couple semesters is that some students in my classroom really struggle with all of that, quote, free time. They might goof off with their friends, or kind of, because they're using their Chromebooks, there's a lot of distractions that way. And I know it's not ability, because I see plenty of kids that might not perform excellent academically that still do very well in the class. It's just really how focused they are. So when I look at the final grades for my course, there's a lot of kids floating in the high 90s to 100%. And then there's a handful of people that just don't pass. That's because they really don't get a lot of their assignments completed. So really, the purpose of my research, and probably most people's research, is I want to see my students succeed, and so I can come up with a strategy or two that might help them. So the research question, big overarching one, was, what is the effect of self-regulating to-do lists and weekly reflections on student productivity in an independent, self-paced robotics classroom? So I wanted to know, were to-do lists an effective strategy for helping students be productive, mapping out their plan for the week, not just working blindly, not knowing what's coming ahead? Did reflecting at the end of the week help them be productive by making changes based off of what they did in the past and learn from that? And was time management the driving factor between students succeeding and failing in my course, or were there other variables or causes that might have added to that? All right, so move myself down. So some of the big takeaways from my literature review are quoted on the right. I found a lot of support for instituting things like to-do lists and reflection, and how that is beneficial to students, not only performance in the classroom, but performance just overall in being productive people, and how having a reflection can not only make them more productive, but also increase their self-efficacy. So if you want to, feel free to pause and read some of those quotes or paraphrases of what the authors gave me. So the way my action research was designed, data was collected over a 4-week span this spring. So that was my experimental group that I offered the to-do list and the weekly reflections. 12 of the 17 students did complete them. Because we were supposed to give students the opportunity to participate or not, I did not grade or assess the to-do list or reflections at all. Just encouraged them to do it. The control group, I used data from last semester, the fall of 2023, because of the way Canvas is laid out, with our assignment due dates already in there, and knowing and having timestamps on when students submitted their work. It really was pretty easy to collect that data. So over that 4-week time span in both classes, Students completed the same 8 assignments. I categorized assignments as either handed in on time, handed in late, or not done at all in that time frame. The to-do list that the students completed were created by me. I used Google Forms, and then they just filled in their plan or their reflection for the week. So I have some screenshots I'm about to show you of what the students filled out. So to-do list, basically they just said what module they were working in and then what assignments they expect to be completing over in that module. This encouraged students to look at Canvas, see what was coming ahead, kind of preview some of those assignments and lessons, and kind of map out what they could do. The reflection, they gave themselves a numerical score on how productive they were for the week, or like how many days of the week were they productive. They then looked at what did they actually complete, right, and how did that compare to what they wrote on their to-do list, and then if there's any changes that they would make for the next week. And I encourage students to be honest, because I was not assessing this. They could not be penalized for being honest, right? If they said they were only productive 2 days a week, I would not hold that against them. All right, so looking at the results from my data, if we're just comparing the fall semester to the spring semester, you can see that in the spring, on the bar to the right, more students, significantly more students, handed in their work on time. Their total amount of work handed in was pretty similar. There was a slight increase for those that were offered the to-do list and the reflection, but I'm sure there could be other variables that might account for that discrepancy, including my experience teaching in the course. But it is nice to see more students completing stuff on time. When I take the students out of the spring semester who did not complete the to-do list or the reflection, the data was altered quite significantly. So it looks like about 90% of assignments for students that did complete the to-do list and the reflection were completed overall, with 75% of those assignments being completed on time. Students that did not do the reflection and the to-do list, so that's all of the fall 2023 semester and my 5 students from the spring, only came out to about 72% total completed. So that's less than the on time for the experimental group. So my conclusion, what did I learn? I learned that the time management strategies like implementing to-do lists and reflecting on the week were beneficial for the students managing their time. I also learned a lot about how action research works, right? Being able to take my typical informal reflection on just how did that lesson work, is there anything I want to change, but actually gathering some evidence and using that to inform my decisions. Really looking forward to how that's going to help me grow as a teacher. And how to manage my time to do that as well. I mean, it's been quite a busy semester, but I don't think my in the classroom time was really affected. I think I could manage to collect some good data, do some good research by utilizing my planning period. How I can help the school. Our 9th grade teachers are instituting the 7 habits of highly effective students. And one of them is put first things first is one of the 7 habits. And one of the strategies there is to-do lists. So I can maybe talk to that committee about how to maybe best generate to-do lists or how it was beneficial in my class. And then I'm also designing a new robotics course, Robotics 2. So what I learned can help me design that course in the best way. All right, and that is it. Thank you for watching.